in like a cowboy hat.
Yeah, and he was trying to have that kind of like country southern accent to him, and I don't know.
remember, yeah, we saw his name at the start where it was going through the actors.
Yeah, you were like, Will I Am's in this movie? And I was like, yeah, unfortunately he is. Alrighty, boys, so let's go ahead and dive right in. Two of the Wolverine movies here we're going to be breaking down. We're going to be doing everybody's favorite X-Men Origins Wolverine, and then we're going to be talking about The Wolverine, because we're kind of on our X-Men rewatch right now where we're revisiting all these movies in the lead up to Doomsday. So let's just go ahead and start with X-Men Origins Wolverine. What did you guys think of this movie on rewatch?
I don't know. It was because going into it, I remember a lot of this people were saying it was like the worst or like wasn't very good. So, and I watched this a few years ago and I couldn't really remember. Remember like some parts with like Deadpool being like Wade Wilson being like
that's obviously
bald.
The most famous thing, like especially because in the Deadpool movies,
he makes fun of it.
Like, yeah, in Deadpool 2, he obviously like erases it from history when he goes back and shoots himself.
Yeah. So yeah, I remember little parts like that. But this movie though, it's not terrible. I would say like I don't think it's like completely horrible, but it was just an okay movie.
Yeah, it's not like the worst movie I've ever seen or anything, but I think it's the weakest out of all of these X-Men movies, especially on this rewatch here. Yeah, 100%. I don't love this movie. I never have. I remember when I was watching this growing up as a kid, I never liked this movie. I just always thought it was weird too. Like, I know the biggest thing that rubs people the wrong way is the whole Ryan Reynolds, Wade Wilson thing, because it's so far-fetched from the Deadpool character of what we obviously get in the Deadpool movies.
Yeah, later.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things that people don't like.
Yeah, earlier in the movie, like I totally forgot he was regular at the start when they were that crew, like that.
Like when he runs in the room and he's like slicing through all the bullets. Yeah.
Because Stryker puts together that like team, and a Team X they called it.
Right.
Yeah, him, Deadpool, Sabretooth, like Victor Creel, who's like the big villain of this movie, and then just kind of a little other people here and there. Gambit too. I totally forgot Gambit was like in
that
there.
version of Gambit was in there. Yeah, Remy LeBeau.
I thought it was a decent movie, like you said, not great. Like you said, it's pretty forgettable.
Yeah,
like, there's just a lot of stuff you just kind of look over. There's so many like different scenes, I feel like, in settings that we kind of just breeze over and just don't remember it.
I do like how it kind of connects with the X-Men movies too, like with Stryker, he ends up becoming the big villain in X-Men 2.
Right, we see that younger version of Stryker.
Yeah, and then younger like Cyclops and Professor Xavier like later. So I do like how those, and then we ended up just watching another one recently too. I just like how they are like a cinematic universe, like they all tie in together pretty well.
Yeah, well, with the title being X-Men Origins, obviously they were going back in time to try and show origin stories of Wolverine and show some younger versions of the characters. But yeah, I don't know. Just nothing sticks, like how you said, Sean, forgettable. Nothing sticks to me with this movie. It's just, there's not one thing that I think is overly positive in this movie that I really enjoy. Yeah, I guess let's kind of like dive into the plot here of kind of everything that happens, and we'll kind of go through it like bullet point by bullet point here.
Yeah. So yeah, the beginning was young Logan. We saw him like when he was really young, first discovering his claws and everything. Victor was revealed as his brother, so Sabretooth. And then it kind of did that timeline of them fighting through multiple wars, which I thought was pretty cool. Kind of like a
oh yeah, when he was jumping around, when they it showed them like in World War I and then in World War II.
Yeah. It was even farther back. It was like the Civil War, too, and at the start. So that was interesting.
I like how quickly they moved through that, because I can't really take that part seriously. Like seeing them in those like Civil War uniforms and stuff. Like I can't really take that part seriously. So I like that was like a quick cut montage as they were going through it. They didn't linger there for too long.
And killing his own dad at the very beginning.
Right.
Not knowing it was his dad.
Yeah, it was like the fake out of who his actual dad was.
And then that's when Stryker comes in and wants recruiting them into Team X, which is pretty much the plot of the movie.
Right, because you saw them in that prison. They were in some kind of like solitary confinement.
Exactly,
yeah. And he rescues them out of there, like basically recruits them to this like special military unit of other mutants.
And then Logan ends up leaving because the team's like brutality didn't really like how they were operating. Kind of them just kind of killing people and stuff. He didn't really like that.
So, no morals.
Yep. And then that's when we saw him with Kayla, that woman he was with, kind of out in like on the mountains.
Yeah, they were like in a cabin in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, I thought that was really weird. They always have, that's one thing I don't love about these Wolverine movies. We'll talk about it too in The Wolverine. They have him have these like little random flings with girls for like a one-off movie.
Yeah.
Like he has this love interest for just the one movie, and then we never revisit again. Obviously, Kayla ends up dying at the end of this one.
Yeah.
But they fake her death towards the beginning because he obviously doesn't realize she's like an agent working for Stryker.
Yep.
And that's kind of against her will because her sister is held captive by Stryker. So she's just doing what he says in hopes that he'll release her sister.
Yeah. Which I think she did end up falling for him too, because at first she was just there as a mission, but she probably ended up like actually liking him. And,
well,
like,
she did admit to him towards the end that that it wasn't fake for her, that she was actually in love with him.
We finally see that like Weapon X procedure with Stryker we kind of got that tease in X-Men 2 at the dam where he was in that tank.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So we saw that this movie.
Yeah, we got to see that play out.
Yep.
I forgot about
undergo that procedure. Him actually getting the metal claws and everything. So yeah, I thought that was pretty
like
good.
them implanting like the adamantium into him. Yeah,
the
to
skeleton.
do his whole skeleton. Yeah.
Stryker was planning to erase his memory, so then Logan escaped, and then that's when he was trying to go find that like Stryker's Island to finally get back. He got Blob. That's that like scene of him in the boxing ring.
Yeah, that's just another one. That's probably the dumbest scene in the movie to me. I just could not take that seriously at all. Like the prosthetic makeup they had him in, I could not take it seriously.
Dude.
Yeah. And another thing I couldn't take seriously was all the scenes with
Will.i.am.
Yeah, all the scenes with Will.i.am I just could not take serious either. Yeah, I don't know.
What was his like? He like teleported.
Yeah, he was a teleporter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he was in like a cowboy hat.
Yeah, and he was trying to have that kind of like country southern accent to him, and I don't know.
I remember, yeah, we saw his name at the start where it was going through the actors.
Yeah, you were like, Will.i.am's in this movie?
Am.
And I was like, yeah, unfortunately he is. Gambit was okay. I don't know. Honestly, even though I thought it was going to be a little bit trolly towards the beginning when I first saw it was Channing Tatum, but I think Channing Tatum does the portrayal of Gambit so much better than what we got in this movie.
Yeah, he was all right. I feel like he wasn't given that much in this movie. He was just like a side character. I mean, just like Channing Tatum, he's not like a main character, but yeah, I do like Channing Tatum as Gambit though. Yeah,
I think when we first saw Channing come on screen in Deadpool and Wolverine, nobody took it seriously. They were like, seriously, Channing Tatum? But
he was supposed to be like a long time ago, like 2016 or whatever. He's brought out in Comic-Con on the stage like Gambit, Channing Tatum, and just they never end up doing anything with him.
And I know when he played him in Deadpool Wolverine, a bunch of old interviews resurfaced where they would ask him like, kind of they do this with all actors, like, oh, if you were to be in Marvel or DC or like in a superhero movie, what superhero would you want to play? And he always said Gambit because that was like his favorite comic book character, and he like had studied him, and he like knew what he wanted the costume to look like, he knew what he wanted the accent to sound like and everything. So that was another thing they didn't do with this version of Gambit is the accent.
Yeah, he was just
he's supposed to have a French accent. Yeah, he just has like a normal American accent in this.
Yeah, because it was they were down in Louisiana, so he did kind of have a little like
southern twang to him. Yeah, I did like they showed him gambling in this. Yeah, that he was like a big gambler.
We saw there was a professional poker
Daniel
player.
Negreanu.
Daniel Negreanu. I noticed. I've
you
seen
did say
him,
that
like,
on rewatch
on YouTube all the time, like his poker moments. And I was like, that looks like that poker, like professional poker player. I was like, Sean would know. And Daniel Negreanu. Yeah, that's who it was. I bet there was another person there. I just didn't notice. But then, it ends up kind of Stryker capturing and experimenting on the mutants, and that's when Wade Wilson comes out as Weapon 11.
Yeah, Weapon
that
11.
Fight.
With his mouth sealed shut.
Yeah,
I hated that.
That was he kind of called back to that. He was like, Stryker finally learned how to shut you up.
Yeah, well, because Wade Wilson's like one of the characters he was supposed to be like, he's a mercenary, so they called him like the merc with the mouth and everything. That was supposed to be his whole thing. He was supposed to be like a big talker, which he obviously is as the Deadpool character. That's like
earlier in the movie too, like on the plane and stuff. He was always just talking.
Yapping. He was a big yapper.
He's like, "Do you ever shut up?"
Yeah, exactly.
And then that was funny, that little call back there. Wolverine and Victor, kind of the Sabretooth, end up teaming together to defeat Wade Wilson there. That fight was okay. Kind of nothing like memorable, I guess.
It was. It's just forgettable, and I think the CGI and stuff looks really bad in those scenes. Like especially when they're up on the big like smokestack thing, and it's showing the background sky. It just like does not look. I don't know. It's just, I mean, I get it. It's kind of an earlier 2000s movie, so it's not going to be like top tier CGI. But yeah, I always thought the CGI in those scenes looked really bad, like in those fight scenes.
Yeah, and that's when we saw young Cyclops, one of the mutants captured that Stryker had. It was young Cyclops. And remember, Professor Xavier got in his mind and told him where to go.
Guided him out of there.
Yeah, that was cool.
Another thing I didn't like about the Deadpool was when they implanted the swords in his arms.
Oh, yeah.
Like almost like Wolverine claws. I hated that too. I thought that was so stupid.
That was weird.
Yeah. I thought that was a dumb decision.
It was a long sword, too.
Yeah. Like the swords he's supposed to have on his back, they implanted them like Wolverine claws into his arms. I didn't like that at all.
Yeah. That's pretty much it with the movie. It kind of showed Logan surviving, but he didn't like lost all of his memory. So that's kind of how we see that.
And then at the end, he ends up getting shot in the head.
Because
Stryker had the adamantium bullets to kill him. He was like, well, his brain's going to heal, but he'll have no memories.
Yep.
He shot him like square in the forehead. And then he ends up waking up and having no memories because he starts confronting Gambit because he doesn't know who Gambit is.
Gambit comes over and said like, "You're alive" or something like that, and he's like, "Who are you?"
And that's when you saw Gambit go off, and he gets on like the X-wing plane as well because he tries to get Wolverine to go with him, and Wolverine doesn't go with him. And then Kayla's there dead, and he doesn't really know who Kayla is, but he kind of has some concern for her because it's like just a dead woman on the ground right there with all the debris and stuff.
It's overall, I thought it was an okay movie. Like I did like parts here and there, but just overall, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not like the worst movie I've ever seen. It's not like I hate it, but it's a bad movie at the end of the day. Like there's just nothing memorable there. A lot of bad decisions, a lot of weird writing decisions, some bad CGI, but I mean, it's not like the worst movie I've ever seen, but it is probably the weakest of all these X-Men movies.
Yeah.
So let's kind of jump into the Wolverine now. This is definitely a better Wolverine movie, in my opinion, out of these two. But again, this was another one as a kid that I didn't love growing up. I remember watching this in theaters and just thinking it was boring. It just kind of falls somewhere in the middle. I don't think it's good, but I don't think it's necessarily bad. It's just kind of mid.
Yeah, they go with this whole like Japanese storyline.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I hate that I feel like I'm watching an anime TV show where I'm reading subtitles for half the movie. I hated that.
I love that.
Yeah, I hated that.
I don't mind it.
Yep, I just hate that they're in Japan like the entire movie.
The beginning was cool with him like during the nuclear bomb
I think
drop.
that's honestly the best scene in the entire movie. That's the most memorable scene to me is the opening with when they're like showing Nagasaki and the bombs coming down and he jumps down into the hole with him to save him. Shows his healing factor there. Like I think that's cool. Other than that, nothing really stands out as very memorable in this movie.
Yeah.
Just kind of boring.
Yeah, we saw Jean Grey a bunch. Pop up in these memories, dreams he had, or nightmares.
Yeah, he was having these like nightmare dream sequences. Thinking about Jean. The one thing I really hate is I don't like the villain at the end where he comes out in the big metal transformer costume,
Silver Samurai.
like the Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Almost like a transformer.
Yeah,
Also
literally adamantium.
Adamantium, it was made out of.
Yeah, and I think the CGI on that looked awful as well. You could
really? I don't know.
I thought it looked terrible. Like just when he's walking and moving around, I just thought it looked awful.
I kind of like the other villain
the Viper.
Yeah, the Viper. Yeah, I thought she was pretty cool. She kind of threw like an X factor into it as well.
Just not one villain. It was two of them.
At least I wasn't expecting that older Yoshida to be the villain in the end.
In the actual Silver Samurai thing, yeah, I totally forgot about that too. I thought it was just like a robot type thing, but no, he was actually in it.
That was the one thing I remembered as a kid, like, or before we rewatched this one, was that big samurai robot was going to show up at the end. I did remember that. Yeah, let's kind of jump into it here. Obviously, we talked about it. He saves Yoshida from the bombing in Nagasaki.
At the start. And then it cuts to the future where he was living alone. That's when he had that like beard and long hair.
Yeah, he was like hiding out in the woods and he sees that bear, the CGI bear.
Yeah, the grizzly bear. Yeah. And then those hunters had that like arrow, and that's when they shot the bear.
Poison tip arrow. He gets in that bar fight, and then that's when Yukio shows up in the bar. Yep. And we were saying too, is this going to be the same Yukio that's in the Deadpool series?
Yeah.
When he's like, "Hi, Yukio," and she's like, "Hey, Wade." And like, yeah, no,
same name, but
same name, not same character, not same actress. Yeah. So that's what kind of gets weird about this X-Men series. They're a little bit all over the place with some of the characters and like the timeline of everything.
Yeah. That's when Yukio brings Logan to Japan. That's kind of where most of the movie will be.
Yeah, because she convinces him to go.
To meet him because he wanted to say goodbye.
That is her grandfather, right?
Yeah.
That's her grandfather.
Not really her grandfather, but remember she said she got like picked up when she was young or something like that for her powers. Yeah.
So technically the girl that is the actual granddaughter, Mariko, that Logan falls in love with, that's her sister or sister in air quotes.
They said, They had that relationship. Then we see Yoshida. He was on that kind of table with those like silver.
That was another thing I always remembered. Like when I watched it in theaters, that weird table he was on with the pegs that it would move up and down as his like body moved. Yeah. Yeah, that was interesting.
And then Viper was the nurse. But she didn't get revealed till later.
Yeah,
I was like, something's definitely up with that. Yeah. Something's definitely up with that nurse. Because like Wolverine kept looking at her and they were like glancing at each other.
Yeah, they definitely, they let the camera linger on her a little bit. Like you knew she was going to play a bigger role when you first saw her in there. Yeah.
And they seen those like little robots and those like jars.
Yeah.
Yes. Are those the same ones that he pulled off of his heart later?
I think so, yeah. Because he looked at those and that's when he had the idea to look in his chest, sit on the table, and like see if anything was wrong, because that's when he wasn't healing.
And because I think that's how Viper, unless I completely misread that scene, but that's how Viper got it onto his heart, like inside of his body, right? When she kissed him, when he woke up in the bed, he was thinking about Jean. And then he woke up in the bed, she was kissing him. And then she just gets up and like leaves the room. Like I think she implanted the little device inside of his body, like
that's
the
when
little
that
robot
happened.
to go climb onto his heart, because that obviously stopped his healing factor.
Yep. Because then he was end up fighting a couple guys and he got like shot.
Every time we saw him getting shot, he was like the Punisher, where he was just getting more and more damaged and was just trying to walk it off, but then his healing factor was not working.
Yeah, because Yoshida, like we said earlier, wanted to take Logan's healing power, but Logan refused.
Yep.
And then that's when we thought Yoshida dies. That's when he dies, and they attend that funeral. But that ends up being like the Yakuza attacked the funeral. We saw that Archer on the roof.
Yeah, the fake Hawkeye, the Asian Hawkeye. Yeah. And that was one thing when I first saw him on the roof, I was like, I think they have a little team up moment towards the end.
Yeah.
Which they kind of do.
They kind of do, yeah.
In the final fight, he does aid him a little bit and against the robot samurai towards the end.
Logan protects Mariko. They had that train sequence. That's when they were on top of that.
That was one of the most memorable scenes I had too. That was another thing I liked. When they got on the train, I was like, oh, here comes that famous scene where he fakes the jump and then he baits the guy into jumping and getting hit by the sign.
Yeah. That scene was a little kind of weird. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little wonky and disjointed, like, and it kind of like drags on way too long. But I did always think that moment was funny when he baits him with the jump and then he gets smacked by the sign, flies off.
After that train attack, and that's when he realized his healing power was definitely weakened or wasn't really working.
Yeah, isn't this when they go to the hotel? Because she's traveling on the bullet train. She's trying to go to like the end of where the end of the line. She's going to the end of the train because she said her parents had a home or something, and
that no one knows about, or something like that.
She was going to go and hide out. Like she had like a safe house to go to, and then that's when he said it's obviously not safe to go there. And then they end up going to that hotel, that couple's hotel.
Yeah,
that was
Love
pretty
Hotel.
Funny. Yeah, that kid that's a vet ends up operating on him, like getting the bullets out of him.
Yeah, because he's like, is he a doctor? And she's like, kind of.
Yeah, he's a vet student. Yeah.
And then Mariko ended up being kidnapped later by her father, which we saw the father throughout the movie. I'm pretty sure he's a pretty big actor. I think he's in that Shogun show too that came out like a year or two ago. That was really big. That won a bunch of awards. Then that's when they go later, and that's we talked about that where he removed that parasite from his heart. His president's healing.
Yeah, because he gets on Yoshida's table, the peg table, and he just pulls it out of his chest.
Yep, and that's when Logan fights and kills Shingen. We saw that with Yukio.
Yeah, because he tries to hit her with the samurai sword, and then he shoots the claw out and
blocks
blocks
it with the
last
claws.
second. Yep.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. Then they figure out they're at that research facility. That's when we can talk about that, when all those arrows,
I thought that was a decent shot. Yep, I didn't mind that when all the ninjas are like shooting him in the back with all those arrows, and they have like the ropes attached to him, and they're pulling him down. Yep, and he's like a porcupine with all those arrows in his back.
Tanked at least like
30. I thought that was a good shot. Yep, I thought that was decent.
And then at the facility, that's when Viper reveals kind of her plan, and then that's when we see the Silver Samurai, the big robot.
Yeah, the Transformer.
Yep,
with the flame sword.
The flame sword. Yeah, because they're trying to cut off
his whole goal. Yeah, they want to cut off his adamantium claws, and then he's going to go like in through his claws with those little drills to like, I guess, extract the
power,
adamantium or like
something
his,
like that.
Something out of his blood. I have no idea, to try and basically gain his healing factor so the old version of Yoshida could grow young, which we did see. He was like de-aging inside the robot suit.
He looked like that World War II self, like back in Nagasaki.
Yep.
That's when Mariko kills Yoshida, her dad or her grandfather, kind of saving Logan, because Logan was just hanging off at that point.
Right.
But then she ends up killing him, like stabbing him with those knives.
Yep.
Then that's when Logan kind of gets up and the bone claws grow back.
Exactly.
So,
yep. And before that, let's not jump too far ahead, because we had that girl on girl action, the Yukio versus Viper fighting each other, and that was a brutal death where she tied that like cord around her neck and then sent her up that like elevator shaft. Was it an elevator or was it just?
I think it was an elevator shaft.
Yeah, she sent her up that thing and basically hung herself. Yeah,
I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was a good death.
After the kind of the bone claws and the ending, the climax there, that's when at the very end, that's when he was leaving Japan with Yukio in that plane.
Right.
And Yukio was like, "I'm your bodyguard," because she kind of mentioned that throughout.
Right. Yeah. So she acts as if she's going to stay with him. Like they're going to go on some side quests together.
That never turns into anything, right? I don't think they ever kind of
that's
bring that
another
character
weird
back.
thing. Yeah, they put Wolverine with these weird like they put Wolverine with these side characters, and they give him these love interests that never really like facilitate into anything in the future.
Yeah, a bunch of like multiple movies.
Yeah, because we never see him do anything else with Mariko either.
Yeah, he kissed her before they got on the plane.
Right, and that's what was interesting too. too is like this was almost like a story of developing him past the whole Jean Grey love interest. We see him kind of moving past that and getting with Mariko, but then it never turns into anything else in the future.
Fully, yeah.
Yeah, we never see that
because
character
he did
again.
say too, like, I can't stay here because she said stay here.
Yeah, because he said I'm a soldier. Yeah.
And that's when we can go in the post-credit scene. That's when Magneto and Xavier kind of warn Logan about the threat to mutants, that whole thing. I thought that scene was cool.
Like, yeah, where you see all the metal and stuff moving, so you know Magneto's there, and he turns around, Magneto's right there with the fedora on, like, the Perry the Platypus. He's right there, and then
the whole airport stops.
And you see everybody, freeze, and then you're like, okay, here comes Professor X. So
zooming around on the wheelchair.
he was bobbing and weaving. The obstacle course through the people. And then that was really interesting. I like that in-cut scene where you see Magneto and Professor X on the same side working together, so you know it's obviously going to be some kind of big deal. And they're setting up Days of Future Past. All right, so rating them. Let's start with X-Men Origins Wolverine. What would you guys rate it out of 10?
I would give it like a 5 out of 10.
Ooh, a little high.
It was better than I last remembered. I thought like a couple scenes here and there like were okay, but overall it's just a forgettable movie though. Like I think it's like mid-tier.
Before I would have given this like a 1 or a 2, but I think I'll bump it up slightly. It's not like as bad as I remember, so I'll give it like a 3. It's just really forgettable. That's the main thing. Like they really do a disservice to the character of Deadpool, but everything else is just kind of like mediocre and forgettable. That's really the only like egregious thing they do in the movie. There's just moments of it that drag. There's moments of it that are boring. So yeah, I'd probably give it like a 2 or 3 out of 10 to be honest.
I would give it also a 5 out of 10. Just because there's so much information that I guess they had to cover creating Wolverine and his origin story. Probably didn't do the greatest of jobs on doing that, but I think it was okay. Like you said, it's pretty forgettable, but it's just mid-tier.
All right, now let's hop into The Wolverine. What do you guys give that 1 out of 10?
The Wolverine, I might honestly say 5 out of 10 as well. Yeah, I think it's just another
that's where I'm at.
Movie. Like I remember as a kid, I thought this movie, like trying to remember if I thought it was like good, but after watching it today, I don't know. Yeah, just a 5 out of 10. Again, I think this is also forgettable. Like after we watch a couple more of these, I feel like this one will just kind of what happened to that again, or like
That's what it is. These are literally these just fall to like the bottom of the list to me compared to the joint X-Men movies. These are just like if we're ranking everything, it falls towards the bottom of the list as well. For me, it's probably a 5 out of 10.
I did like how it like had Jean Grey sprinkled throughout with obviously after The Last Stand, so it connected with that, which I like
really
the
good
connections there. But yeah, that's about it.
I would give it a 6 out of 10. Like you said, it's a little better than Origins. There's like a ton of action in it, like a bunch of fighting, so I did like that. That's a huge bonus. I don't like how this story played out really.
That is one thing that's a good point actually, is comparing Origins and this. I think this one definitely has better fighting. Like it kind of gives like Shang-Chi vibes a little bit, where it's like good like as far as the hand-to-hand combat goes. Like I like the samurai type sword fighting and like the hand-to-hand combat and all that, like all the martial arts stuff. I will give that a positive. Alrighty guys, that is going to do it for our revisit of these 2 Wolverine movies, X-Men Origins Wolverine and The Wolverine. If you guys enjoyed it, please leave a thumbs up down below. Let us know in the comments section what you guys think of these 2 movies. We appreciate you guys watching and staying all the way to the end. Thank you guys so much.
Peace.